Justice Martha Koome, the Chief Justice of the Republic of Kenya and the third under the new constitutional dispensation, holding her first ever, call it inaugural, hearing at the Supreme Court as CJ and also as the Supreme Court judge. Yesterday, actually, the Supreme Court did talk about 21 cases that will be heard by the Supreme Court now that it's fully constituted. And one of the cases, if you just joined us, is the 2017 Murua Tetu case. You've heard it perhaps several times when you talk about any reference to the Supreme Court, or even during the interviews for the CJ and also for the Supreme Court judge. It's a 2007 case that talks about the section 204 of the Penal Code, which calls for death sentence for murder. Of course, the Supreme Court will be hearing that case among other 20 by October. Good morning. This is KBC and this is KBC News Check. My name is Ben Njue. Thanks indeed for making time. And today, talk about the Supreme Court being headed by a woman. We're talking about women leadership in the light of COVID-19. And of course, I will be joined by a woman you perhaps have heard or seen. But before then, we also have a new sheriff in town who happens to be a woman. Yesterday, the UASO elections were being conducted, and we have Dr. Grace Nyongesa as the first woman union chair, another milestone. Talking about milestone, we also have, of course, another trailblazer who I will be hosting right here. We're talking about leadership and COVID-19 pandemic, a myriad of challenges. I am joined by another Dr. Christine Ombaka, who is the MP Siaya County. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
And indeed, thanks for honoring the pledge.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here.
And talking about women leadership, you must be feeling quite well. We were to chair a woman, of course. The CJ is holding her first ever session, CJ, and also as the president of the Supreme Court.
Yes, I'm happy for that, and I want to congratulate them. Martha Koome, she's the first woman in that position, and we are proud of her. I'm also proud with the young women who are coming up in leadership position at the university level, and I think that is a big achievement for women. I think the sky is the limit.
And Dr. we're talking about women MP now, as opposed to what we used to talk about women rep. Perhaps you can expound on the role of the women,
yes,
and especially the MPs in the counties.
Yes, it was called woman rep, woman representative in the constitution that we have today, but we prefer to be called members of parliament. And therefore, since we look after a county, so it will be important to consider us as county member of parliament instead of woman rep. It's like you represent women only, or those are the people that voted for you. But I think men voted for us, and so to embrace them also in our role, I think we should be called county member of parliament. This is a position that is affirmative action position that came in the 2010 constitution. It's a very important position because the idea was to ensure that more women are elected in parliament. And because it's an affirmative position, it was required that in every county, 47 counties, there would be one woman representative or one county member of parliament. So we are 47 women in parliament. Our role is more or less the same. It's the same because we sit in parliament, and our role is to oversight, to make laws, and also to represent the public. But over and above that, we work with communities where we are represented, in the counties where we are represented. And since we take care of a county, we have different constituencies that we run. In Siaya, where I represent, I'm taking care of 6 constituencies. I represent 6 constituencies. And the woman MP from Kakamega, is taking care of 12 constituencies. Esther Passaris, who's a woman representative or county MP, is taking care of 17. So women county members of parliament represent counties, but each county have different number of constituencies.
Just hold the thought, and I want us to a little bit focus on the challenges, because looking at your role, and perhaps the funding that you get as the county MP, and looking at what other MPs get is quite different. But before then, of course, Martha Koome is leading the Supreme Court bench in hearing the case, the famous Muruatetu case. And other than that, we also have other things that we'll be checking out, or other events that we'll be checking out. We have the Global Fund grants signing ceremony that is taking place at the Pan-African Hotel right here in the county of Nairobi. We also have the minorities and marginalized communities rights advocacy. That seminar will be right here in Nairobi at the Best Western Meridian Hotel. Of course, the minorities and marginalized communities, and even talking about the leaders themselves, they have come out strongly to talk about more of the equitable fund, and also talking about more resources being allocated to that region. Of course, we also have food safety report in Kenya in the wake of actually looking at how the economy is, and also one of the dailies talking about it's getting hard by the day to put food on the table. But as we put food on the table, is there food security in the country? What kind of food we are having? Well, that also will be actually happening at the Sarova Hotel right here in the capital of Nairobi. And other than that, we will be checking the Supreme Court case, where our reporter is on standby. Ben Chumba will be giving us more in regard to that Muruatetu case. But back to our discussion, and in case you just joined us, welcome. This is News Check, and I'm being assisted by Lensa Odingo in terms of the sign language interpretation. And of course, we have the Siaya County MP, Daktari Christine Ombaka. Before I interjected, you were talking about some of the challenges that you're also facing as a county MP.
Yes, county MPs do have a lot of challenges because we cover vast areas of our counties, and we cover a county just like the governor does and the senator does. The funds that have been allocated to county MPs is called National Government Affirmative Action Fund. It's so little for a county. If you calculate what we get, it's approximately 6 million per constituency. 6 million per constituency. Whereas our counterparts, that's a member of parliament of a single constituency, has 120. Look at the difference.
Oh, that's a big difference.
It's a huge one. And yet, the people, our communities judge us the same way. How much have you done for your county? How many roads have you constructed? Classrooms, and so on. And we cannot perform. The money that has been allocated to women reps is not used to build classrooms. It's not meant for constructing roads. We only use it to pay some bursary, which is very little, far too little, because for me, I have a world of orphans, and that money cannot even go round properly. Then the same money you divide it among women groups and youth groups. You give them money for economic empowerment, for their groups to do table banking. It is the same money that you can buy sanitary pads if it is approved. Sometimes it's not approved. And it is the same money that you can do countrywide projects, such as maybe building markets or giving them umbrellas where women who are selling in the hot sun can use, or buy water tanks. And so that's what we can do. We can also do civic education, and that's all that you can do with that little money. So we do not construct buildings. And that is where the public judge us wrongly. They just think we are not doing anything, and we have got names such as, flower girls. We are just escorting our MPs.
Yeah.
We do not have money in this kitty, and so we have been rated very badly. We have been negatively perceived, and many people do not appreciate the role of county MPs. Just would wish that if this seat continues, more money should be invested, because we are the people who touch the hearts of Wananchi. We give them money straight away.
Yes.
We allocate funds to them in their groups so that they can do table banking, they can do biashara, they can actually empower themselves. So people can appreciate it if more funds were allocated on this seat.
Indeed, and of course, as we wait, but if of course the BBI reggae will be back and is actualized, we will have a whole different set of structure when it comes to leadership in counties.
Yes.
I do remember on March 8th during the International Women's Day, you were so vocal talking about and urging women to go for elective posts now in the wake of 2022 succession politics, and not just about the women rep seats, as we call them, but for all the seats. Is it informed by the small number of women leaders we have in the country?
It is. We've noticed that throughout history, women have never been properly represented. There are too few in politics and other appointive positions. But let's talk politics first. In Parliament, women are far fewer than men, so much so. So the position of county MPs have actually boosted the women a little bit in terms of the fact that it is a seat meant for women, and therefore definitely we would always have 47 women straight away as a head start. Now, should there be BBI, should it go through, then the seat of county MPs will not be there. It is kind of scraped off, and it will not be there. But the good thing is that at the Senate level, there will be the woman senator. There is the male senator and the female senator. And so at that point, you can see that there will be more women, 50% in Senate, at the Senate level, where you have women on this side and you have the men on this side. The only challenge that I tend to think will happen is that when you become a woman senator, will you go with the money for a national government affirmative action fund? Because you need money as a member of parliament to work with in the county where you are representing Wananchi. To be a member of parliament with no funds, it's like a joke.
Okay, and away from that, you also touched on starting mentorship program, and especially for young women to perhaps tame gender stereotypes. Where have you gotten on that endeavor?
Yes, with the fund, with the National Government Affirmative Action Fund, there is a slot, there is a vote head, which is called civic education. That civic education is what we use for mentorship programs. I use it to rally young girls and boys together. We talk about sexuality, we talk about drug abuse, we talk about good behavior, we talk about future careers for young people. We mentor them. We make them feel that they also own this world, and that they have a role to play, and that they have a future that is bright, that they need only to work hard to achieve it. We also tell them about gender-based violence. There's a lot of gender-based violence within the youth. Young people fight each other, young people kill each other, young people abuse and they intimidate one another. There's a lot of bullying in school, so gender-based violence is there. We need to start early to tell our young boys that when they grow up, they must respect girls and women. Even the women, we tell them, when you grow up, you will have to respect the men as well. So it's a two-way traffic. When we talk about gender-based violence, we do not talk about men beating girls or women all the time. It is also the other way around. Even women have a role to play in the gender-based violence. They must talk peace. They must also try to fight back and report cases where they are abused, when they are intimidated, when they are physically harassed or physically assaulted. They must report. The issue about gender-based violence is the fact that many women don't talk about it. They keep quiet, they're ashamed of it, they don't report. And when they do report, halfway, they stop reporting it. They backslide. The issue does not go far. The other day, I was dealing with a case of rape. The lady called me and told me she's been raped and we need to help her. And I was out to help her. But then throughout the process, she did not go to see a doctor. So there was no evidence. I could not move with the case.
And that is actually affecting a lot of young women.
Yes.
And when it comes to leadership, you find that a lot of them come out for elective positions, but when we get closer and closer to the polls, we see they just fizzle out.
Yes, it's the way we are brought up. Women are brought up to believe that they're weak, that let the men talk while you listen. That is a cultural thing in all African context. Women are supposed to be more peaceful, they're quiet, they're submissive, they should not talk loudly, and they should always play the submissive role. That actually has been that has been part of how women are brought up. So when we talk about mentorship program, we try to kill that, to remove that kind of submissiveness. Let the women also be heard. Speak up. Fight for your rights. And also remember that you are not just a woman, but you also equal the man. Men are not superior, even women are superior, but we are on equal terms. We need to give each other opportunity to excel, so that there's no intimidation that you are a girl, sit down and don't talk as I speak. So those are the kind of issues we try to bring in to young girls, that they need to be braver, they need to be more confident with themselves, and to be able to see the world in terms of equality, where they are not weaker than the men.
So how do we boost their self-esteem? Because among young women to seize these leadership positions,
you need to start early.
Sensitization, you talk about.
Sensitization, information is required. But the earlier we start, the better. Because a weak character, you need to empower them when they're young. So as they grow up, it becomes part of their culture. It's the way they're brought up, so that they're stronger, they're more vocal, they're able to fight for their rights, they're able to go and get what they want. So you start early. It's a cultural thing. If you start too late, they will have developed submissiveness. And by the time you remove that out of them, it's difficult. It becomes very, very difficult to achieve. So I always advocate for starting early with the young girls and young boys, but even boys can be very shy. Yeah, even boys can be very shy, to the extent that you wonder whether, are you really a man? People start doubting. For a man, when a little boy who's very shy, it's more tragic, because people see boys as stronger and able to excel faster and better than the girls. But when a boy is very shy, then parents start getting worried. What's wrong with my son? So we still need to empower the boys to know that they have a role to play, and that they too need to be stronger and fight on. But they must remember that their sisters are just as stronger.
Indeed, still in the endeavor, we also have retrogressive cultural practices, and of course the COVID-19 has only added salt to the wound. And also we looking at the Nyanza region, the western, we haven't yet seen perhaps a governor who happens to be a woman. We've seen that perhaps in the Mount region and perhaps in the Rift.
Yeah.
We will touch on that, but first of all, let's take a quick break. We'll be right back. Keep it KBC. Welcome back. This is KBC News Check in case you just joined us, and we are looking at women and leadership. Remember, this broadcast is live from the broadcasting house and also on our social media platform. Of course, we welcome your comments, suggestions, questions, or even where you are watching us from. And today I'm joined by Dr. Christine Ombaka, who is the Siaya County MP, putting into perspective some of the issues and when it comes to women and leadership in the midst of a COVID-19 pandemic. And before we had that break, Dr., we were talking about looking at Nyanza and Western. We have perhaps a huge bulk of leaders from that region that are known countrywide. We have the likes of the Right Honorable Raila Odinga. We also have the Wetangula. We also have Musalia. We also have so many leaders there. But we have women leaders from those regions who are not seeking those big seats. But we have women who have excelled in other fields. What perhaps can we do? And what exactly is happening? We are not seeing them up there or following up. They just fizzle out.
It's unfortunate because Nyanza is where women have excelled politically. In the early 60s, 1969, the first woman mayor was Grace Onyango. Grace Onyango was the first mayor, the female mayor in this country. And so that is where women in politics started. After that, we had Phoebe Asio, we have Grace Ogot. And they were known nationally. They performed well. That is where you also have women like Lady Justice Alwach. That's where you have Orie Rogo Manduli, the first woman who drove the East African Safari Rally. That's where you have Conjestina Achieng, again the first woman who was in the boxing.
Yes.
So really, when you talk about women in leadership from Nyanza, you will get them.
Yes.
So, but when it comes to politics, they fizzle out. They're not there. They kind of disappear. I believe that politics is too expensive for women. Maybe it is too expensive, but maybe more women want other things, appointive positions or something like that. It's difficult to know what has happened to Nyanza women, but Nyanza women can perform and they have been there. But somehow there is some weakness developing where we do not see them anymore. Yeah, so I think that when it comes to politics, I will still say that politics is a very challenging position. It is violent, it's too expensive, it is over-demanding, and it is not a very easy position for more women from Nyanza. But I still believe that there are more women who want to join it. Right now, I know young women are coming up. They want to be MCS. They want to be MPs. They want to be appointed. In fact, in last election, 2017, there was a woman who wanted to become the senator. She tried to run, but she didn't make it. But I think when it comes to politics, we still need sensitization. We need to empower women. We need to talk to them. We need to encourage them to go into politics, because politics will open many doors for success and for more development.
Are we in line perhaps to see a woman contesting for presidency in 2022? And also, if at all the BBI is actualized, we'll have 5 positions, the Prime Minister, the Deputy Prime Minister. Right. Are we likely to see that? And what more can be done to empower them to go for the top seat?
Yes. First, let's see what more can be done. What can be done is sensitization, encouragement. Mentorship programs should continue. Training in leadership must continue so that we have a whole world of women who are actually interested in joining leadership positions, and especially the top level, so that women are just not within the lower cadre of politics. We want women to aim higher and become governors, to become senators, to become president and deputy president. And if BBI passes, there will be a position for prime minister, even that. And there will be other positions such as deputy prime minister. There will be 5 big positions. Out of these 5, Kenya is a gender sensitive country. I believe the 5 positions, 1 woman or 2 will be there. 1 woman or 2 will be there. And so I expect that should BBI go through, more women will get positions. Even the position of governor should be part of what we aim for. There was a suggestion that when a man becomes a governor, then his number two, his vice, becomes the woman, or the other way around, or vice versa. Somehow that was shut down. And so within BBI, it is up to the governor to decide to choose the opposite gender in the position of deputy. So it's kind of weakened. But if it was a law that must be executed, then it would be wonderful to know that a woman governor chooses a man to be her deputy.
Okay, let's focus on retrogressive cultural practices. Looking at FGM, we had an incident in Murang'a a couple of days that was really condemned. We also have, looking at, and also in my county, that the FGM is still rampant.
Right.
And also looking at Nyanza and Western, we also have the wife inheritance and other cultures. We have early marriages in some of the counties.
Right, right.
And we do expect these young women to also be leaders.
Well, all African communities do have one or two harmful cultural practices. Some communities in Kenya still practice what do you call it?
FGM.
FGM.
Yes.
FGM is practiced in this country by certain communities. Others are beginning to drop it, but there's a lot of education going on and sensitizing the public against FGM, because it's not just a physical harm, but it also has a lot of emotional and social harm. People really cannot tolerate it anymore. Then we also have early marriage, which is also common in many communities. In my community, early marriage is very high. Yeah, but it's condemned in many ways, but it is still there. There is also wife inheritance, and we know with HIV and AIDS that becomes a challenge. And so we are talking about many cultural practices that are across this country, starting from FGM to early marriage and to wife inheritance. Yes. And also gender-based violence is part of it, because when your husband dies, you find your family, the in-laws, also come and grab your property. Some of those are harmful. You cannot go on with them. So those are the kind of issues that we are raising, and I wish we could have.
And before you continue with that, do we need perhaps you've talked about sensitization, and looking at also education and what all other people are doing in counties is not exactly strengthening that, because looking at education, we have a lot of women here in the pandemic that actually young women who have dropped out of school. We have others who have actually been married off. The economy has hit so hard that some have actually opted to get married so as to kind of bring some food in the table and to have a sense of family, and that these are the same people that we want to be the leaders of tomorrow. Perhaps you think a lot needs to be done on that?
Yes, a lot needs to be done, because with COVID has opened up a chance, not a chance, it has created an environment of poverty, because parents have lost jobs, businesses have collapsed, and therefore children cannot go to school because parents cannot afford to pay their school fees. And so when a situation like that emerges, then the girls begin to go out to look for how to survive. How to survive is seen to be marriage. And so they rush to get married because they think that in marriage they will have some safer haven where they can eat. They can now have food on their table. They can also help their parents. So early marriage becomes a consequence of the effect of COVID-19. And that is a terrible state of affairs, because the young girls below 18 are getting married and becoming mothers, and therefore not completing their education. So we are actually getting a situation where we are going to recycle poverty over poverty,
yes.
ignorance over ignorance, because who is going to school then? Young girls are dropping out, young boys are dropping out, parents don't have money, and so we are running into marriage to think that it is the only solution we have. I think we have to work very hard to ensure that COVID-19 is dealt with. That is also another aspect.
Yes.
How do we deal with it? How do we deal with this disease that seems to be growing every single day? I think the government should now come in to do something. And I think we need to be sensitized that we should go for checkups. Then we should also receive the injection that we do get.
Yeah, the vaccine.
The vaccine should be there. It should be made available, and people should be encouraged to go for it. In some foreign countries, I was just reading the other day, most people have been vaccinated.
Yeah.
And so people are now freer, walking about and doing their businesses.
Actually, in Israel, it's at 60%.
Yes.
Away from that,
yes,
let's look at the affirmative action.
Yes.
And it has brought about so many seats, and especially women have really benefited from that.
Yes.
What's your take? And do you feel that we need, in a run-up to the 2022, we want to see more women, perhaps, or do we fight it out?
Yeah, we want to see more women in politics in 2022, in all positions. It's not just county MPs, because there is this idea that women cannot run for other position other than the woman, the county MP. It's been allocated to women, yes, but now women should go for presidency, deputy one. Because we don't know about BBI, we cannot talk about it, but we need to go for governorship, we need to go for Senate, we need to go for county MP, MCA as well. The more we spread out in these positions, the better for us, so that we are not just glued in one small slot and then lose out on others where men are. For example, in Siaya, where I come from, I'm the woman rep, or the county MP. The rest are men. Governor is a man, deputy is a man. 6 constituencies are all men. So there's no woman. At least we need 2-3 women. We have 6 constituencies. If 3 women can take some constituencies and another 3 men take constituencies, that would be great. We have 30 wards. Only 4 women are elected MCAs. We need more women again. And so in my county, I would advocate for more women running for all these positions that we have and winning them. But I also want to take this position to tell the men, support women. Morally, emotionally, even financially, there's nothing wrong. Men who are gender sensitive will support their wives, will support their relatives who are women to go in for this. So that is the message that we need to pass, that it is not easy for just one single person to run for a position on her own. She needs support from her family, her friends, and these include men and women. So I expect men to support women instead of calling women names, and some women don't like politics because they feel that they're abused all the time.
Okay, and still mentioning that in counties, as we wind up, in counties we've seen most positions, when it comes to MCAs, the nomination slots have to be, a lot have to be women, because we are trying to actually do the 2/3, and of course a lot are not elected. And remember, women are the majority voters. Should we change that mentality when we go to the polls as we wind up?
We need to change that mentality, because first of all, voters are women. Women are more than men, and the women tend to vote, but the women vote for men more than they vote for women. And the women who stand or who run for various positions are also not as many. So you may get, like Siaya now, we have only 4 who have been elected in 2017. In 2013 there was only 1, but there's an improvement now. We have 4. But I expect that 2022 we shall have more women as MCAs, more women as MPs, and more women as senators and all that. But so far, I've seen people beginning to run for governorship in Siaya. Out of the ones that I know are running, there's no single woman. I know that there are 4 who have declared their interest, but they are men. There's no single woman who has declared her interest in gubernatorial position.
Perhaps you can be the
well,
one?
let me think about it.
Yes.
Let me think about it.
Yes.
But there are no women so far. I've only seen one woman trying to run, or she has declared interest as a member of parliament. Yeah, but that's one. Out of 6 positions that we have, only one. I have
only
not had
one,
any.
and we have 6 constituencies.
Only
we also
one.
have a governor.
Yeah.
Your final ones, kindly.
My final one is just still women in leadership. I expect more women to run for various positions, and I expect more women in gubernatorial positions. We have 47 governors. At least we are the voters. We are the majority of voters. I expect at least 15 governors coming from the women folk. The rest can be men. They will start off, and women will begin to see them as role models, and more will come up. So far, we only have 2. We had 3, Madam Ngilu, Anwai Guru, and the late, what's her name? Yeah, so we had 3, but now we have 2. But these 2 have been very, very powerful. We have seen them as role model. We really admire them for the position they've held, and we want to emulate what they do. So I would wish that all women in 2022 will be considered in the first 5 positions if BBI sails through. But even if it doesn't, then if the president is a male, let him choose a woman as his vice. If the president is a woman, let her choose a man as her vice. So that should follow in all positions where there is a vice.
Okay.
Yeah, gender-based balancing is good. Equality is important. These are virtues that we have in the Constitution.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much indeed. Powerful words. Women seize the opportunities out there. Don't wait for affirmative action or wait for nomination slots. I have been speaking to Dr. Christine Ombaka, who is the Siaya County MP, putting into perspectives matters women and leadership and in the light of COVID-19. And talk about COVID-19 in our second hour, we'll be looking at what the government talked about some couple of weeks and couple of months ago, is that we should be expecting the 4th wave of COVID-19 infections in the country, talking about a surge in the cases, and especially now that we are in the cold month of July. Well, I'll be joined by 2 gentlemen, one from KUKO, that is the Kenya Union of Clinical Officers, and another one from the Kenya National Union of Nurses, to see how well we are prepared as counties. Remember, around 13 counties have been declared COVID-19 hotspots. That is the live discussion that we'll be having in the second hour. Let's take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Thank you.